Good morning, everyone. Sorry, my camera's a little shaky. I had to adjust it before we started, so that's why the screen was wobbling a little bit. So, good morning, happy afternoon for those of you who happen to be in different time zones. But welcome to the November Power Hour. My apologies for getting the live stream set up a little bit late. I thought I had it locked and loaded and realized that I didn't. So next time, actually after this Power Hour, I'll make sure that the December one is locked and loaded before I get away from my desk, so that you guys can get reminders and notifications and all that good stuff. So shame on me for that, but I'm glad to have many of the usual folks here. So, all right, who do we have in the house today? We have Ty. Ty says, happy to be here. I've been listening to The Writer's Journey. Have some questions. The Writer's Journey was my old podcast. And well, thank you. Thank you for listening. So that was a fun project. I haven't thought about The Writer's Journey for a while. Okay, Bethany says, howdy, I'm excited. I missed out on the last one due to family matters. All right, well, we are here, Bethany, and good to see you. And Deborah, working on my NaNoWriMo project, which is a cozy mystery. All right, well, yeah, happy NaNoWriMo, everybody. So, every month for me is NaNoWriMo, but I hope everybody is killing it. And, this is a great opportunity to make some progress. So it's really cool to see. Many of you have commented in the comments of the projects you're working on. So please, if you are working on NaNoWriMo and you have not commented, let everybody know what you're working on. All right. And how far, well, actually, no, we won't do that. Okay. I won't do that to you. I was going to say, how many words do you have? But yeah. Okay. So I'm dying here. Okay. So if it's NaNoWriMo and it's day 4, then, just a public service announcement. That's why I'm not going to make anybody post their words. But you're supposed to write 666 words a day. So by the end of the day today, it's somewhere around 6,600 words. If you're not there, it's okay. It's early in the month. You got plenty of time to catch up. But just always like to do the math for people. Okay. So let us know what you're working on in NaNoWriMo. Okay, Bethany says, I'm still working on my novel I'd hoped to be done with back in September. Okay, yeah, that's okay. We all have setbacks. I'm working on a novel I should have been done with back in May. So, that's how it goes. But you're drinking good old Southern sweet tea, which sweet tea sounds fantastic right now. All right. And Dahigi is in the house. Hello, Dahigi. Good to see you. And Ty says, I'm working on a new urban fantasy novel, first person, present tense. Never tried it before. All right, NaNoWriMo. All right, that'll be a fun project, Ty. First person is great. I love the first person, but present tense is a challenge. That's going to be fun. As I said in my comment, I think you'll learn a lot. My tendency is I tend to, when I start off writing in the present tense, but I slip back into the past tense. It's just a bad habit. But it's a great point of view. Or great tense. All right, TextVet Jeb, Jonathan, good morning. Good morning, Jonathan. And Jonathan is working on book 2 of my series, currently 10K words in. Hey, nicely done. Nicely done. So I don't know if you're doing NaNoWriMo, Jonathan, but if you are, you're well ahead of where you need to be at this point in the month. And Bethany says, I always get the point of views mixed up. Yeah, it's easy to do that. I mean, I think I just chalk it up to when I think the preterite or the past tense is, what we're used to, and it's just a hard habit to break. All right, DCJ, good morning. Working on my first short story for the Ray Bradbury Challenge. Oh, Ray Bradbury Challenge. Yes. So awesome. Good luck with that. So 52 short stories in a year. That's the Ray Bradbury challenge. That's a short story every week. I Okay, so I started that earlier. I started that actually around this time last year, and I failed. I tapped out at around 10 weeks. I got 10 good stories to show for it, but that's it. If you can do that challenge, that is amazing. It's like the best like exercise of your writer chops that I can think of. So my hat goes off to you, and good luck. So yeah, so you have to keep us posted on how you're doing throughout the challenge. And if you haven't thought about it, make sure you think about sending your stories to magazines as soon as they're done. So don't sit on them, because if you're going to write that many stories, you might as well send them out. Okay, Tish Bouvier. Hopefully, I said your last name correctly. Waving from Houston, Texas. All right, Dahigi writing a radio drama for a YouTube series I plan to narrate myself. Very nice. And Ishin, hopefully I said your name correctly, live stream after a long time, or did I just miss them? Well, we live stream every month, usually the first Saturday of the month. Now, January and July, it doesn't happen usually, but usually we're here the first Saturday of every month at 10 o'clock Central Time. So feel free to join us next time. Okay. Bethany says, oh, I used to live in Texas. Oh, cool, cool. I think there's a lot of folks here who are in Texas, actually. Okay. Jonathan says, I'm not targeting the 50K. Okay, so then you can be released from the pressure. Okay, so let's see. Okay. DCJ says, thanks for the advice. Going to focus on the practice purpose and see how it goes. Yeah, awesome. It's good stuff. That challenge, I can't. Well, actually, I can't. Yeah, I can't announce anything yet. But I did the challenge, and some good came out of it. So, I'm sure that the same thing is going to happen to you. So guys, I want to let you know, I did an announcement on my YouTube community tab, but for those who didn't see it, I have a new audiobook out, and the audiobook is narrated by me. So it is my book, The Pocket Guide to Pantsing, and it's how to write a novel without an outline with confidence. So that's the link. But here's the thing. There are two ways you can get it. The first way is on my YouTube channel. So I posted the audiobook for free. Anyone can listen to it. It's about 4.5 hours. You can stream it. There's an ad at the beginning, an ad in the middle, and an ad at the end. I'm not going to be nickel and diming people over ads. All right. You can stream it for free. Or if you'd like to purchase the MP3s, you can purchase those at my website. So I didn't record this for Audible or Findaway Voices. I might at some point. But I was I just sat in front of my desk and opened up the book in vellum and read it. So, it's not highly processed audio. You might hear my dog walking around. You might hear my chair move a couple of times, that sort of thing. But I thought it would be a kind of a cool experiment and kind of something cool to do, especially just in time for NaNoWriMo, for those of you who like to pants or write without an outline. Hopefully this book can be helpful to you during this time. So you can get it at authorlevelup.com/pantsing. And as a reminder, for those of you who are regulars and those of you who are new, I do have a standing offer for all of my Power Hour friends. You can get 15% off any book that you purchase from me directly, including the Pocket Guide to Pantsing audiobook. And you can just enter the code Power Hour in your checkout, and you can grab any other books that might tickle your fancy. And So, a lot of fun. I had a lot of fun doing that. It took me about 3 days to record the book. So I may do that. I may do something where like I'll publish a book and then I'll record it, and then it'll just be like me at my desk, and I'll have the ebook and the paperback and maybe hardcover large print on day one, and then also maybe like my self-narrated audio on day one as well. So I'm looking into ways that maybe I could find a way to get it Audible ready at my desk, but that's just going to take me a little bit of time. So the audio would never get approved by Audible at this point, but a lot of fun. So you guys can check that out if you are interested. Okay, so we're going to get into our first session here in a moment, but just going to read a couple more comments. And okay, let's see. Awesome. Awesome. Okay. Well, why don't we jump into our first session, folks? So I'm going to get the timer on. I don't know if we have any newbies here, but if you do, just real quick, we're going to write for 20 minutes and then we'll come back and debrief. I'll answer questions. We'll shoot the breeze. We'll do this 3 times, which is why I call it a power hour, because it's like 90 minutes. All right. So with that, let's get into it. Hope everybody is ready. Happy NaNoWriMo. Let's get it. Alrighty. We got past the first session, everybody. So you know the drill. Let me know what your word count was, and more importantly, how you're feeling. Because if you feel good when you write your words, the words are going to be good. Although honestly, the words are going to be good even if you feel bad, but it just helps if you feel good. So, yeah, I'm just going to keep saying that until I depart this earth, because it's 100% true. Okay, so while the word counts are coming in, we got some questions that came in, and I marked them just a little bit. Okay, so first question is from Ty. I was wondering about podcasts, YouTube, etc. I feel like I have nothing to say. What is your advice on how to get started? Yeah, I think this is a really important question. So, um, I think that people should find the medium. I got to choose my words carefully here. People should find the medium that matches their personality. So, for some people, it's blogs. For other people, it's podcasts. For others, it's YouTube. For me, podcasts and YouTube, I kind of live in that area between them both. Both of them kind of suit me. They just kind of match my personality, and I feel like I can, my personality comes through a lot better in those than they do in blogs. For example, for some people, it could be social media. It could be Twitter or Snapchat or whatever matches your personality. And the way that I have always gauged that is what medium do you or would you enjoy and it doesn't feel like work? All right. So to me, that's the first part of it. If you feel like you have nothing to say, I don't know if that's true. I mean, it feels like that when you first start. And I think a lot of that has to do with, you don't have an audience anyway. So even if you did have something to say, what would you say? But my formula has always been talk about what I'm working on and talk about what I'm struggling with. And I talk to a wall. I mean, you were listening to the Writer's Journey podcast. When I started that podcast, I just turned on my microphone and talked to a wall for weeks until I got, random people starting to listen around the world. So, that's the best time to start an experiment because no one's listening. So you could experiment with a podcast, you could experiment with a YouTube channel, and you can make all those mistakes. And you'll find that, if you talk about things that interest you, things you're working on, and things that you are struggling with, you'll find that attracts people, and that to me is a good formula for letting your personality come out. So then if you've picked the right medium, then it just kind of pours gasoline on it. All right. And that's not to say that it's not difficult to build an audience. It's not difficult to market yourself with the medium. I mean, that's all another can of worms, but that's where I would start. Okay. Let's see. Next question. Next question is also from, we got a question or a comment from Tony. I've been writing journals for years. I have several book ideas. I started all of them, but haven't gotten over that hill. One is up to the first draft. I'm just hitting mental and motivational blocks. Yeah, Tony. I mean, there could be a number of reasons you're hitting those blocks. I don't know your particular situation, but here's what I can tell you. Writer's block has 3 root causes. The first cause is fear, meaning you're just afraid of what could happen with the book, or maybe you're worried about how the book will perform, and so that's stopping you from writing. All right. So fear is when you are afraid of something that you are imagining or remembering. So the trick to that is to stop being afraid of things that you imagine or remember, because they could come to pass, but they could just as well not come to pass. And I've talked about this a lot on, different video interviews and things like that. That might help you. The second root cause is lack of inspiration. So sometimes it's just that your creative well is dry and you need to go to a movie or go to some random place that you've never been before and people watch, or read a book or exercise. Do something, right? Do something that you would not normally do after you do this podcast. And that sometimes can help get you past that motivational block, because it's your subconscious telling you that it doesn't know what to write next. And so when you do something that is out of the ordinary, that becomes food to your subconscious. And when you do that enough, then you stop running into that particular root cause. The third root cause is personal circumstances. So is there something in your life that's going on right now that you are dealing with or avoiding that you need to confront head on? Because it could be that that is what is stopping you from writing. It's your subconscious throwing up a wall saying, no, you need to go over there and handle that problem. And what I have found is that when I do that, when I handle the problem, I can come back to the desk and the words will flow. So Tony, again, I don't know your situation or what you're dealing with, but maybe something I said resonated with you, that can maybe help get you on the right path and get past some of those motivational blocks. Okay. Let's see how everybody did here. And I did see some more questions. I'm flagging all your questions, guys, so I will get to them, I promise. All right. Ty is at 506. Jonathan is at 396, feeling so-so. It's okay. So-so is okay. We work on getting to the heck yeah, but hey, it's all good. You got the words down. Presentes Momento says, the joy of writing was something I lost when I was 14, and trying to get it back over a decade was hard. I empathize. I know how that feels. And I'll tell you, when you get it back, it's amazing. Yep. So it's good to hear, writer's somebody that writes, right? You can never quit this profession unless you want to quit. Okay. Dahigi says, this is my first attempt for a narrated story. 15 to 20 minute episodes. It's almost like the writing version of a TikTok video. That's kind of cool. Okay. 422 words. Deb, 400. Bethany, 4 paragraphs. Okay. That's all good. 4 paragraphs is good. And Presentes Momento, 300 to 400 words ish. Wrote multiple chapters. That is good. And Ty says, has lots of questions. No, don't worry about it. Keep them coming. It's all good. That's what I'm here for, guys. Here to answer questions. Okay. Let's see. And Bethany says, have trouble with having to talk to people about it without fear of looking for help. So I get in a rut and get off track. Yeah. And we all get back to it. And Bethany says, I'm close to the finish line. That is great. All right. So let's get to our second session. I got the questions that were asked flagged. Keep your questions coming, guys. You guys know I'll stay on and answer all your questions until you've asked them all. So let's go ahead and get into the second session, and good luck, everybody. Okay. Second session is done, everybody. So let me know, how did you do? What was your word count? And how are you feeling? All right, let's get to some of the questions that came in last time that I didn't get a chance to get to. Question from Ty. I was reading that you should copyright your book within 3 months after publishing. It has been like 4 years for my novels. Does that affect anything if I try to copyright now? It's a complex legal question. I've talked to some attorneys about this, and I've talked to some mentors who know a little bit more about copyright. And you, the answer is, I think what most professional writers are doing. I think what people would tell you is, if you can afford to register your copyrights the day you publish them, and you don't mind sparing that expense, I think it's like $55, then I think the best advice is just to do it when you publish it. Um, you don't have to do that. I know a lot of professional writers that will only register their copyright when the work is being considered for something. So, like, for example, you get a publishing contract, or an agent approaches you to make a book into a movie. That's when you go rush off to get it registered, just so you can protect yourself. And there are some legal benefits. I think, there's certain damages you can get if you have the book registered within those 90 days. But I'm not as, I used to know that stuff pretty well, but I don't know. I don't remember it enough to be able to comment on it with any certainty. So my advice would be, just to, if you want to cover yourself, you can register your books now. Your money might be better served elsewhere in your business, especially, if you're not full time. And then you can just register it at the time when someone approaches you for an offer for something. The moment someone approaches you for any piece of work, just go off and register it. I've done that, and it seems to have worked pretty well for me. So that's how I would answer that. Okay, next question from Ty is, are you willing or able to sell your book database template? Oh, wow. You're bringing me back, Ty. I'm not far enough into the podcast to see what came of that idea. Okay. So for those of you who don't know, I had a podcast called The Writer's Journey, and there was a series of episodes, I want to say like 2019-ish, where I was exploring databases. And the idea was to create a database that holds all of the metadata for all of my books, so that I can help myself manage them better. So I started that in Microsoft Access, as I talked about in the podcast, and then it evolved, and I streamlined it a little bit, and it is now what became of it, Ty, is that I have it's called a master publishing file, and it's just a glorified Microsoft Excel document where it allows me to keep all of the metadata for my books, allows me to do some simple quality checks, and then, like, for example, like when Amazon KDP came out with their price updates earlier this year, the price hikes only affected trims that were of a certain size. So I could filter that spreadsheet real quick and filter all of my books that were 6x9 or bigger, for example. So it just allows for easier filtering and helps you manage things. So Ty, actually, I'll put a link here, and anyone else can have access to it if you want. It's authorlevelup.com/selling resources. I have a book. It's called Keep Your Book Selling, and this is the benefit or the bonuses in that book. You're welcome to check it out. But basically, I've got a template that you can download where you can kind of modify it, and then I've got YouTube videos that walk through how to use it. So if anyone is interested in checking that out, feel free to do so. So I had to dig that up. That's why I didn't answer the question right away, because I was like, I got to go find that. I can't remember what I did with it. All right. So hopefully you find that helpful. If you have any questions, reach out to me by contact, and I'm happy to on my contact form, or you might have my email address. You're welcome to ask me any questions on that once you've had a chance to go through it. Okay. Dahigi says, strong work, everyone. Yes, indeed. Okay, so next, let's take a look at how everyone is doing. I lost my spot. I was scrolling a little bit. Okay, got some more questions that came in. Someone mentioned that the train image looked like the train to Hogwarts. Yes, and those were Gryffindor colors on that train too, which just makes it even better. Okay. Let's see. Next question is from Dahigi. How much should my number of characters affect my word count? More or less so for primary or secondary? That's a good question. I've never thought about that. How much should your characters affect your word counts? Well, in theory, and we're just going to talk theory for a second. In theory, the book really should be about one person. So, if you think about that one person as like a center, and then you think about concentric circles, then you branch out a little bit, and then you've got supporting characters. I would guess, your team or your supporting characters probably no more than 4 or 5, and 5 might be pushing the upper limit. And then you go out another ring of the circle, and you've got minor characters who are characters. Maybe they're recurring characters, maybe they're important to some degree, but they don't get developed like you would with your supporting character or your main character. And then you go out another concentric circle, and you've got your cameos, just walk-on characters that might be in here for a chapter. They don't really have any importance, but they're there for some reason to help the plot move along or whatever. So I think, you've got 1 or 2 main characters in that middle circle, probably, 4 to 5 characters in the supporting circle, maybe 4 to 5 characters in that minor character circle, and then cameos, who cares, right? So to me, that's probably the best rule of thumb. That kind of jibes with what I see the mega bestsellers do. You'll notice that in their novels, they don't really have a whole lot of characters. George R.R. Martin excluded from that conversation. But if you read John Grisham or Nora Roberts, I mean, the number of characters is actually pretty self-contained. If you want to look at this yourself, pick your favorite, author, top-selling author, and just go through and count how many characters they have. And, their books are going to probably be longer than yours because traditional publishers pad their books for profits, but it could give you a good starting point. Okay, let's see some word counts. How's everybody doing here? Tahigi, 391. Bethany, 1 small paragraph. Ty, 506, feeling really good. That's good to hear. And Deborah, another 520. Hey, Deb, you're doing a great job today. All right. And Bethany, took up my writing period. It's okay. Jonathan says, turned off the sound and lost track of time. Jonathan, that's the greatest compliment you can give me here. I'm just happy to see people writing and focusing and being in the zone. It's good. And 350 words. Okay. And Vic, how are you? I'm doing great, Vic. I hope you're doing well too. So I got up at 6 a.m. today, and I've been going at it on my novel. So it's good stuff. All right. Ishin, Michael, I didn't write much, but I turned on my laptop after 15 days after illness and was happy to see where I left off. Have to go to dinner because it's nighttime in India, but we'll start tomorrow. Hey, baby steps. That's what it's all about. So glad you're feeling good about it. All right, Tish, I finished a chapter. Awesome. Okay, I see some more questions. I've got them logged, guys. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go ahead and jump into the final session, and then I'll answer the remaining questions and any other questions that come in. All right, so I'm going to first remove this comment from the screen, and we're going to jump into our third session. Good luck, everybody. Well, how did everybody do? We made it through our third session and final session in the Power Hour. So I want to know how you did. Let me know what your word count was for, let's just say, the whole session, the whole Power Hour, and how do you feel about it? And if you want to get bonus points, extra credit, what's your goal for the weekend? All right. Let's see here. And CL joined, says, hey, late. Hey, good to have you, CL. And okay, let's answer some of those questions that came in. All right. Question from Greblocks. How important do you think ARC readers are for tricking the Amazon algorithm? If I don't have any, would it matter? Or would it be like a tree falling in the forest with no one around to hear it? Okay, so ARC readers, that's something that, I believe if you can get them, they can help you. That said, probably not going to move the needle a whole lot unless you've got maybe more than 10. Because anything less than 10 reviews, you're going to have to move some boulders to get the marketing to kick in for you, especially the Amazon algorithms. That's just anecdotal. There's no written evidence that says more than 10 reviews. But I think, from a social proof and credibility perspective, when you get over 10 reviews, that's when you can start cooking with gas. So the thing is, though, is that, a lot of people are not going to be able to get 10 reviews out of the gate. It's hard enough to get one review, let alone getting 10. So if you can get them, great. But if you're going to get them, it's a numbers game, right? So it starts with building your audience as soon as possible. And maybe for your first few books, maybe more than that, you're not going to have a big audience, So the best ARC readers are people that come from your community, preferably people that are avid readers in the genres in which you publish. That's a good start. So I know some people like to go find any ARC reader they can, because there's lots of people out there that say, I'll read anything. Just send me anything. I'll read romance. I'll read mystery. I'll read sci-fi. I'll read literary memoir. They don't care. And that's great, but that's not really that helpful for you. You really want to find somebody that reads a lot in your genre, because when you target people that have, they read everything, you run the risk of them not liking it at all. And you really don't want reviews from people that say, I wouldn't normally read this, but blah, blah, blah. You really want those people that are clued into your genre. So I've said my piece on that, but hopefully that is helpful. Okay. Next question is from Presentes Momento. My question is rather simple and not really intended for me. For future writers and especially young writers, what is your best advice to conquer fear? Yeah, it's a great question. So I'll tell you the story that I always tell about this. Someone else mentioned fear, or I mentioned fear earlier. So maybe now is a good time to talk about it. So there's a video by Gavin DeBecker. He is a security consultant. He was the guy that protected and ran the security detail for Oprah Winfrey, for Jeff Bezos, and now he's running the security campaign for RFK Jr. for his presidential campaign. So Gavin DeBecker protects important people, and he wrote a book. It's called The Gift of Fear. And while he was touring, talking about that book, he did a talk. I think it was at Princeton or Yale. It's really bad video quality, but he did a lecture, and it was really, really eye-opening. And in that lecture, he was talking about how fear is a biological response designed to save your life. So thousands of years ago, our ancestors developed fear because, take an example, somebody walks by a bush. Well, back in those days, back in prehistoric times, there could have been something in that bush that could have popped out like the Kool-Aid Man and tried to kill you, So over time, as people walk past bushes or walk in dark spaces, we've evolved that feeling of fear, because that feeling of fear can save our lives, right? So it was a helpful tool for our ancestors to develop. Now, fast forward to the 21st century, it's not all that helpful unless we're in situations where we're in imminent bodily danger. So DeBecker tells this story about a surfer who's surfing, and the next thing he knows, he's on the top of a wave, and next thing you know is he's in the jaws of a great white shark. I mean, that's just crazy. So he's fighting this shark. The shark's got him in his jaws. He's bleeding profusely. And, he reaches over and he grabs the shark, and he jams his thumbs into the shark's eyes, and, it blinds the shark, and the shark goes crazy. And at this point, the shark lets him go, and he could swim away. But for some reason, the guy doesn't know, but for some reason, he held on to the shark. And the shark starts zooming down to the bottom of the ocean, and this guy's bleeding like crazy. The shark's going wild because it's been blinded. And the shark gets to the ocean floor, and he finally lets go. Something tells him to let go, and he swims up through his own blood and lives to tell the story. Now, why did the guy hold on to the shark? I don't know, but it's probably true that, maybe if he had let go, the shark might have attacked him or hit him or something. Or if the shark had more energy, it could have attacked him. And so when it got to the bottom of the ocean floor, it had lost all of its energy. So there's no way it could have attacked him even if it wanted to. I don't know. But that is an example of how fear can save your life. It makes you do things that you didn't think you could do. That's why De Becker calls it the gift of fear. All right. So why am I telling you all of this? Okay. So when you sit down at your writing computer and you are staring at the blinking cursor and you have writer's block, what you feel like feels a lot like fear. I mean, your blood vessels are probably constricting, your eyes are probably narrowing, your heart rate's probably up. All the biological markers of somebody that's about to get attacked by a great white shark, or who's in the middle of getting attacked, right? Maybe a little bit less. But what you're feeling is not fear; it's anxiety, and there's a difference. And anxiety presents like fear, but De Becker talks about how it is a response to something that you imagine or that you remember. So the trick to conquering fear is to recognize that what you're feeling is 9 times out of 10 going to be something that you are imagining or remembering. And the advice is to stop being afraid of things that you imagine or remember. So I'm just going to hazard a wild guess, radical prediction. When you are sitting in front of your writing computer, staring at a blinking cursor, I'm just going to go out there and just make a wild guess that you are not going to be attacked by a saber-toothed tiger during your writing session. If you are, then you come back, tell me I'm full of crap if you live to tell about it. All right. But until that happens, stop being afraid. There's nothing to be afraid of. All right. So it's true that the things that you're afraid of could come to pass. It's also true that the things you're afraid of will not come to pass. And when you realize that, then fear has no hold over you, because you realize that it's just an evolutionary trick that helped our ancestors, but is rather inconvenient for us in the 21st century. Okay. Long answer to your question, but I hope it provided some advice. Okay. Deb says, if I wanted to do podcasts only, no video, what social media platform would you recommend? Podcast only, social media platform. Well, I don't know that I would recommend a social media platform. I would just recommend that you syndicate the podcast to as many places as possible. So if you go through a provider like Libsyn or Blueberry, there's dozens of them out there that will distribute your podcast to places. Get your podcast onto Apple Music, or not Apple Music, Apple Podcasts for sure. Spotify, Overcast. There's just so many of them out there, and it just changes so often that I'm not even going to name any more names. But start there. Get the widest distribution you can. Oh, Google Podcasts is another one, because if you do that, you've pretty much covered your bases, and you've cast a net so that anyone who wants to listen to your podcast can. Then the question is, what do you do to promote the podcast on social media networks? So I've seen some people do like audiograms, where it's like a spectrum of the audio, and it kind of pulses like an equalizer a little bit, as people speak, and maybe people put some subtitles on there. You can use a service to get subtitles. That could be something that you push out to X or Facebook or Instagram, that sort of thing. But I would just start with the wide distribution. I was actually pleasantly surprised when I had an active podcast. I was pleasantly surprised how organic people came to me, like how my organic traffic happened. I didn't really do anything to promote my podcast. In fact, I probably could have promoted it a little bit more on my YouTube channel, but I just recorded the episode and uploaded it. And I was surprised at how many views and listens I was getting, on a regular basis at the height of the show. I mean, it was several thousand people listening a month, and I wasn't doing anything to promote it. So there is something to be said for just casting a wide net for your distribution. Okay, good question. All right. Let's see how everybody is doing. I lost my spot here. Just give me a second. Oh, okay. Bethany had a comment on Presentes Momentos note. Motivational videos. Like Michael here, there is Jenna Morrissey, who writes The Savior's Champion, and I like her channel. There's also a guy named Brandon who does short videos. Okay, I don't know about Brandon. I mean, I know Jenna. Jenna's great. So another good inspiration, another good advice. Okay, let's see here. Okay, Presentes, not that many words. Had to fix the laundry before Sunday, but happy nonetheless. All good. DCJ, 405 words. And Dahigi says, I'm a big fan of yes, but no, and to move my stories forward and in late and out early to hold my reader's interest. Yeah. Start your story late and end it early. What are your preferences? Yeah, I mean, I agree. I don't know about yes, but or no, and I haven't heard that. But yes, in late and out early. Yeah. The big thing, though, to be careful with the in late is that you don't start too late, though. Because sometimes people start too late. They start right in the middle of all the action. Whereas if you look at the mega bestsellers, they don't do that. They start slightly before and they give you an introduction to the character that sometimes could be 500, 1,000 words, maybe a little bit more before the events of the story start. So just whenever I'm in doubt, I just look at the top 1%. I just look at what they do, and then I do that, and whether I execute on it or not, I don't know yet. And then the thing with the out early is just to make sure that your story has a validation. So I think a really good example of no, I won't go there. So the validation is basically when the hero has defeated the villain, there's usually a time skip or a jump. And then there's the loose ends that get wrapped up. Don't end your story right after the hero destroys the villain. There should be a little bit of a letdown, a little bit of a cool down, a party, a celebration. The hero's, talking about how they got over the big bad, that sort of thing. And that's usually a couple thousand words. And then you end the story. So, but yeah, other than that, to add that nuance, I agree with everything you said. Okay, Gussie. Hey, good Gussie to be here. I'm late too, but glad to be here. I've been revising a scene that needed more conflict. Awesome. Okay, Jonathan, total word count is 960. That is a fantastic number. Goal for the weekend is to clean up this week's work and get another 2 scenes on paper. Awesome. And Ty is at 1378, another fantastic number. Feel great about it. I want to try to write another 4,000 words this weekend. Hey, awesome. Hey, good luck. Okay, Bethany, 8 paragraphs in total. Getting all the housework done before Monday. Yeah, so not having to worry about it on your birthday. Well, happy birthday. I don't know if it's today or Monday, I suppose is your birthday. So happy birthday in advance, and hopefully you have a great birthday. Okay, Jonathan. Michael, do you think an ARC group from a site like Hidden Gems Books is worth the expense? Oh, I'm sorry, Jonathan. I missed your question earlier. I had it flagged, but I don't know why it didn't show up. I haven't heard of Hidden Gems. I'd have to do some research. You may check to see if the Alliance of Independent Authors, Ally, has written up anything on them. In fact, I'll just look it up here real quick. Actually, my computer's running slow. So look up, I'll put a link in the chat. So if you guys don't know Ally, check them out. They are a nonprofit organization for self-published writers. I am their outreach manager. So, you know where my sympathies lie on that. But they have a ratings database, and their watchdog, John Doppler, he does a really good job of looking into all the various service providers out there and giving his opinions on whether they're good, whether you should use some caution, or whether you should run away screaming. So check that one out. Okay. But I guess to answer the question, I mean, if there's some expense to it, just make sure that it's copacetic with the Amazon review guidelines. Just make sure they're not violating that. I've used Book Sirens and Book Sprout. I have found those to be worth the money. So if Ally hasn't commented on Hidden Gems, you'd be in good hands with Book Sirens. I like Book Sirens a lot, actually. It helped me get quite a few reviews. It's copacetic with the Amazon review guidelines, and they do a good job of pairing you with people that read in your genre. So I don't know why I didn't mention that earlier, but check those two out as well if you're interested in sparing a little bit of expense. And Book Sirens is not that expensive. It's not that expensive at all. I can't remember what it is, but I remember being pleasantly surprised at the cost. Okay. Let's see. Bethany. I feel like I'm lingering my first book and debating on leaving it as a cliffhanger and using smaller books instead of a bigger book. The question is, how much would it differ doing smaller portions versus big books? So you're potentially looking at 4 books, but now you're looking at 8. My advice on that is end the books where they should end. Don't split up a book just because you feel like it needs. Don't split up a book because somebody told you to split up a book. is my advice on that. Split it up because there's a natural ending point. If you can't do that, I wouldn't split it up because readers will call you out on that. So if there's a natural ending point, if there's I just talked about a validation. If there's a final battle and there's a natural validation at that point, or maybe there's not even a validation, maybe there's a little bit of a cool down with a cliffhanger at the end of it. That's okay. Just make sure it's organic. Yeah, that's the big thing, because readers can really sense if it's not, because they'll say things like, "It feels like this should have been 1 book." Or it feels like this should have been, 4 books, but it was 8, that sort of thing. You don't want them to say those things in reviews. Okay, Tish, my goal for the week is to finish Act 1 of A Cozy. I'm participating in Double Up with Nano today. Okay, I haven't heard of Double Up, so sounds cool though. Okay, Presentes, I'm glad it was a good answer for you. Okay. Bethany says, to answer Presentes, when I struggle with writing, different music change helps up the zone. Okay, so you go from pop instrumentals to Viking battle. That's a very specific type of music there. That actually sounds pretty cool. Viking battle music. All right. Hansel, how do you create interest from page 1 if you were just introducing your character in normal life? Well, it goes back to the old reliable hero in a setting with a problem. All right. So the problem doesn't have to be plot related. It could be that the hero's faucet's not working. I mean, you're talking about normal life. So hero in a setting with a problem, and describe that hero through the 5 senses of that character. So bring the reader in and put the reader in the character's skull. And that's a good start. That's always a good start. And that's going to get you through about 500 to 600 words, 400 to 700 words, maybe, depending on the subject matter. And then you launch your story. Then you launch you launch the events that lead into the story. Okay. Jonathan, Brandon's videos are great. Somebody let me know, what is Brandon's last name, or what is his YouTube channel? I'm not familiar with him. I'd like to look him up. Okay. Ty says, what is a conference in Colorado that you are attending? Lost my note. It is the Superstars Writing Seminar, Ty. So Superstars Writing Seminar. It is, I put the name in the chat. It is run by Kevin J. Anderson, and it is in Colorado Springs at the Antlers Hotel. I believe it's downtown Colorado Springs. So I don't remember the exact dates, but it's early February. I think they're going to be opening up the registration here pretty soon. So if you're interested, definitely look into getting your tickets soon. Yep. So I'll be there. I'll be there the whole conference, but I'm doing I think a half day session. I'm going to be talking about sharpening your writer's third eye. So, techniques that the mega bestsellers are using that you can learn to use yourself. I'm also going to be doing a talk on mental models for writers and elevating your writing mindset. And there's also a VIP dinner where I host a group of writers as well. So if you're going to be there, please let me know. All right. Let's see. Okay. Brandon McNulty. Writer Brandon McNulty. Okay. I'll check him out. Thank you for sharing that. Okay. Gussie, my goal for the weekend, finish running all the chapters through Pro Writing Aid and send out chapters to beta readers. Nice. Jonathan says, might be McNulty. I can't ever hear the name McNulty and not think of The Wire. Okay, so greatest television show ever. Okay. Bethany, I was listening to Viking to Christmas. I was Viking to Christmas music. Vibing to Christmas music at work now. Now it makes me want to listen to Harry Potter instrumentals after today. Yeah, Harry Potter instrumentals would actually be perfect. It's a good season for it. Although we're just past Halloween, but it should work out pretty well once snow starts hitting the ground. If you've got snow in your area. So, all right, awesome. Let's see. Okay. Well, it looks like our comments and questions are winding down, guys. So just a quick reminder that you can grab my new audiobook if you're interested, narrated by moi. And then you can get it at authorlevelup.com/pantsing, or you can just listen to it on YouTube. It's the most recent video on my channel. And hopefully it helps you write without an outline if you are interested in doing that. And if you're interested in grabbing any books from my website, any books that you buy from me directly, you can get 15% off. Just use the code POWERHOUR, and just a standing offer and a standing thank you to you guys for making time to be here today. So with that, I'm not seeing any more questions. So I'm going to let you guys go, and hope you have a great rest of your weekend. Oh, before we do that, we need to look at the date of the next Power Hour, which is going to be on Saturday, December 1st. And I am going to do the live stream and set all that up after we're done right now. So it'll be there. So just give me a couple minutes. Next time you're on YouTube, you should be able to see it. You can click on it, get the bell notification when I go live. So December 2nd at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. All right. So thanks, guys. It's been great as always. Next Power Hour is our last one of the year. So it's going to be a good time to make some progress and tie up some loose ends. So thank you. Have a wonderful weekend. Talk soon.